Yeah, you got the rhythm.
Hey, welcome back everybody to the BaseLINE podcast. I'm your host, BaseLINE Newman. Now for our special guest today, I played football with him back in high school. He just wrapped up his final year playing at Grand Valley State University. Please welcome my special guest, Antonio Strong. Tone, how you doing today?
Good. How about you, man?
I'm doing great. It's good. Happy to have you on. You know, it's the first time we've really seen each other since high school. So yeah. So just to start things off, you know, how have you been? What have you been up to?
Well, I just recently on Saturday I just graduated. I got my bachelor's in communication and then a minor in general business. So just finished that up and then looking forward to the next opportunity in life.
Yeah, absolutely. Big congratulations to that. That's amazing to hear. Now, you know, between getting redshirted at the start of your career at Grand Valley and, of course, COVID, this was your final year of eligibility. And, you know, you and the Lakers really capped off this last season on a high note, you know, winning the GLAC and finishing the regular season with a perfect 11-0 record. What did that mean to you to be able to pull this off?
Well, they won it back in 2016, my senior year in high school. So ever since I've been there, we haven't won it. So to be able to do that my senior year has like meant everything because losing all them games prior to them years before and then like being so close in some years to finally like break that threshold and win the actual GLIAC championship and be able to celebrate in the springtime and get a ring, that meant a lot to me because there was a lot of guys that I came with and then only a few of us stuck around from COVID and then some people transferring or just not finishing school. So I got to be able to finish with one of my roommates, and to win that, it just meant everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And you just said it perfectly. I mean, because since joining the Lakers, you know, you and the team really had to kind of build that program up. You know, when you joined in 2017, you know, the team finished just 8-3. And, you know, going from that to an 11-1 record just 6 years later, I mean, that's amazing. So what can you really say about the growth as a team overall, but also your growth as a player in these years?
Well, for as a team, I think it was a maturity level and then everybody being bought in. So, like, some years, I don't think that everybody was, like, bought in, but there was just a different energy in the air about this year from the coaches, from the players, all the way to just, like, the regulars, that people who just don't even play football, from people, like, who just wash our clothes and do things like that. You could just see a big difference that everybody wanted to do this, not only for the seniors, but for the head coach as well. And then as me, for, like, the growth as a player, I'm 23 and I got to play this my sixth year eligibility. So just being able to grow throughout them years and then see what we did wrong and be able to be a leader for the defense. And then just not only for the defense, but for everybody, all the young guys and things like that. Because we were pretty young this year. Those guys really look up to us. So just go out there and doing things right, talking to them the right way, and then just letting my play show for itself.
Right. I mean, you just mentioned it too, you know, and I read a few articles about it, getting ready for this interview, but you were named a team captain going into this season. You know, just kind of talk about what that means to you to be really seen as a leader of that team.
Well, it just goes to show that, like, the guys that are below me or the grades under me, they really view me as that type of person and that leader. Just not, I go about myself in a certain way to where I hold myself in a higher standard. Because if I'm not doing it right, then the person below me or the person who's under me in the grade lower than me, they're not going to do things the right way as well. So I just try to go always and lead by the high route and then just show things physically and then talk to them as well.
Before we really get into your career, you know, like I mentioned in the beginning, you and I played football together in high school. Obviously, I was the better player. But, you know, growing up in Grand Rapids, can you talk about kind of your upbringing a little bit and kind of how it played into your love of football?
Well, I grew up I live in Kentwood, so I used to go to Kelloggsville, so like K through 9, I went to Kelloggsville, and then I transferred to Catholic Central, and then like that was just like a total culture shock for me. So going through that, you know, I met a few friends, like all the people that I met from Catholic Central are wonderful and great, and then but like the few people that stuck out to me the most was Mike Brown, obviously, and then Jalen Mayfield. Those guys are my best friends, so they really brought me in, and they helped me get acclimated to the culture there. So going in and just being around those guys, that really helped me out. And then I have two older brothers, and they really played a role for me growing up, kind of bullied me, roughed me around because they're 5 years older than me. So growing around that and being around that, just like loving football. And then I always knew what I wanted to do, like go to college and play football and do things like that. But they just kind of showed me how to be a man and then just doing things the right way.
You just mentioned, two people that really stuck out to you in Cali Central, Jalen Mayfield and Mike Brown. Both of those guys were just recently able to really make a dream come true for them. Both making it to the NFL. Jalen Mayfield's on the Atlanta Falcons. Mike, he's bounced around a few teams this season, but seems to finally be making a home for himself. Can you kind of dive deeper a little bit into your relationships with Jalen and Mike, and kind of how they kind of helped you in your career, and also just kind of what it means to you to be able to see them have that success in the NFL?
Well, for Mike, because Jalen's a year younger, so when I transferred in the middle of ninth grade year, the first person that I shadowed Mike actually. So he was the first person that I met from Catholic Central, and we just hit it off like right off that. Got to playing basketball, got to linking up with each other. So just going to school with him every day, having classes with him, and him just being there from the start, he really got me acclimated to that culture. So I can always thank him for that. And then we just always really push ourselves. I will push him and he'll push me. Just not like I want to be better than him, but it's just a competitive nature thing that just something that just always went on between us. Like I'm trying to outbeat him and he's trying to outbeat me, but we're not downplaying each other or doing anything like that, talking bad about each other. So just seeing the evolution and the growth of him is crazy, because his ninth grade year, he was probably like 155. And then just going to see him now, he's like 210, 220 almost. And in the NFL, it's crazy. And then Jalen, so I really got connected with Jalen, not because he played varsity his freshman year, but we really weren't that close. Like his dad. His dad's pretty funny. His dad always talked about him. We were just like, all right, man, like he's gonna be good, but he doesn't look that good right now. He didn't go into his body until really his senior year. But we really got close during my sophomore year during basketball, because we were at practice every day, doing practice and having fun times like that, going out to eat with our parents and having those little fun trips on the road. So we really got close then, and then just building that relationship all throughout high school, and then watching him grow from Michigan to be a third round draft pick. Like everybody wants to get drafted. Not a lot. That's not normal to get drafted. Somebody from Grand Rapids, Michigan, and then to have two best friends in the NFL is just absolutely crazy, because like people from Grand Rapids just don't do things like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely very rare. I'm happy you mentioned Coach Mayfield. Come on, big fella.
Fella.
But no, I mean, I agree, because I remember, I not saying I was ever good at football, because I wasn't, but there was that frustration for sure when he came along, and he got all this attention, playing varsity his freshman year. Like, is this kid really that good? But it's great to be able to see him grow at Michigan, and now for the Falcons as well. And then Mike was one of my first friends on the football team when he and I started up. So, but along with that, kind of backtracking to growing up. Who were some of your favorite athletes to watch growing up?
I think my favorite athlete to watch growing up was Kobe. I just always liked the Lakers for some reason growing up, maybe because my dad did and my brothers. But he just always he scored a lot of points. I used to like want to be in the NBA and things like that. Like, I didn't want to play football at first, so I realized I wasn't gonna be 6'4" and jumping out the world. But I love Kobe growing up, and just like I didn't really get into like the mentality thing that everybody talks about now. I just love that he scored points and he shot the ball a lot, because that's what I wanted to do growing up: score points and just shoot the ball a lot and don't care what nobody thinks. And then the NFL, I think my favorite athlete was probably Michael Vick. It's just because I'm left-handed and he is left-handed. I never could throw the ball, but I always thought of myself as like a running back and just being able to elusive and things like that. So Michael Vick and Kobe Bryant was the main two.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, definitely two. I mean, amazing athletes for sure. I can definitely understand why you would like them. But going off that, I mean, obviously you mentioned how much you liked basketball growing up. But you know, aside from football and basketball, what other sports did you maybe play growing up?
I did track. I got into baseball for like a week, but I just realized that it was too boring. It was too slow. But I did track basketball and football every year.
Now, Tone, it's obviously no secret that you've dedicated the majority of your life to the game of football. But why football? What is it about this game that you love so much?
Because I really think that it teaches you about life, because you have so many ups and downs throughout football that it equivalates and it sets you up for lifetime, because you learn so many lessons. And then if you take a loss on the field, you learn how to take a loss in life, because things are going to happen, things that you can't control, things that other people do, because football is a team sport. You have 11 guys on the field at a time. and you all have to get things together because ultimately, at some point in time, you're going to have to join a team, whether it's a workforce or doing whatever you want. You're just not going to be by yourself, whether you're the leader of that team or that boss of that team. So being able to learn things like being a leader, how to talk to people, how to take coaching, you're going to have to take coaching your whole life. And then just to be able to learn from other people, always be willing to learn, ask questions and things like that. That's what I kind of learned from being involved in all these sports.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I definitely agree with that. Football is very much a team sport for sure. I mean, like, let's just say for the NBA, a coach's role definitely has something to do with it, but it's very player driven. Whereas, the NFL, a bad coaching decision can really make or break a team. So I definitely understand that. Like we mentioned before, you and I played football together at Catholic Central, and you and the Cougars certainly made a big impact, especially our senior year, 2016, as you helped lead the team to their first championship since 2010. And it was a really major year, leading into the current success of the Cougars. And it was also the first time in program history that the Cougars had their own stadium to call home. So, can I talk about this 2016 season and what it meant to you to not only be able to find so much success the first year in our stadium, but also leading that team to the championship?
I think it just all started from that. So going from that 2015, like as soon as that New Year's hit, I think all the seniors were just locked in, and we even started working out in like the gym. We had Coach Coaster used to have us come in like voluntary workouts on Sundays. We would go in the gym, throw the balls around, get things like that, and just do like agility workouts. So just going back from that January or the start of 2016, we just wanted to put in the work. And growing up, I think watching those games on like Fox Sports and the state championship, I always wanted to play in that. It was just like a dream of mine. So going into that season, it's like it was all or nothing for me. So going from that summer, we just put in so much work doing 2-a-days, things like that, just on our own. And then heading in the fall, we're like, okay, we have a good shot. I don't think like the news or anything had us going far or stuff like that. Because I remember Coach Coaster, he will always comment like, "Man, nobody has you guys winning, but I can see this team. Like I know what this team's about. I know the players that I have, and like you guys have put in the work." Because the way he coaches, he kind of like he puts you down for like 2 weeks. He just absolutely kills you, and then like that week of the first game, he starts to bring you back up. He starts putting confidence in the guys, things like that. So after that first game, when we beat East Grand Rapids, I forgot the score, but it was pretty close all the way up until the end. And then we're like, okay, we actually got something here. And then we just kept on rolling throughout the season. And then we lost to West Catholic, I think 20-3, right? Something like that.
Something like that.
We didn't score at all. And that's just like how as explosive as we were on offense, and for them to shut us out, we're like, man, like something's got to change. Something's got to happen. So we just went back to work that week. We came back out the next week. I think we put a whooping on somebody. I can't really remember, but we could just like there was a different energy. And it's like going in the playoffs, like all or nothing. It's just go home. Nobody wants to go home because if we go home, this is like a disappointing season because we know the talent that we have. And then we made it to that state championship, and by far they were more talented than us. They had probably 7 Division I players. We only had one at the time with Jalen. Mike didn't have any offers, so we're like, all right, we just have to strap up and get down with them because they're a very good team. They're faster than us, bigger than us, everything. So we got that done without a first down scoring. I have no idea how we did that. We didn't get a first down. So winning that game 10-7 and then being able to do that, start the little run that we had, it just feels good because knowing you're a part of that history because Catholic Central has such a rich history in championships and the football culture. Being able to get part of that and seeing the streak that they're going on now is just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned a lot about Coach Colster. I mean, I remember those Coach Colster practices. They are tough. They are really, really tough. But he really came on to this program our sophomore year. Can you talk about Coach Colster and why you think he makes such a big impact on this program, and how do you think he's really able to create that winning success?
Well, since him coming in, it was 2014, our sophomore year.
Yeah.
It was just a different feel with him. He always pushed us. He doesn't care whether you're the best player or not. He's gonna rip on the best players the most, no matter what. He's gonna get like Jalen. I've seen him cuss out Jalen way worse than any other people, and then I'm pretty sure he did that with all the other guys that came through there. So just him being on that, and he's willing to put the work in more than anybody. He's gonna stay all the way up until 10 o'clock if he has to with us. I remember some nights we were in there till 9 o'clock just watching film with him. He's willing to do anything to win. And then he's just for me, I think like he's an offensive guru. Somehow, like some players, you be like, all right, what is he doing here? But then he's always setting something up. So and then on defense, him and Coach Passanal, they come up with such a great game plan. That's just out. I think the game plan is not something that's too measured. It's always simple. And then the thing is, what Coach Koster always says is outwork, out prepare, and then you're just gonna finish them. And that's really like what the program is built upon, just outworking people and then finish them off.
Yeah, for sure. And going off of that too, obviously you mentioned Coach Colster and how he just how great a coach he really was. But how do you think that playing at Catholic Central really helped prepare you to play at Grand Valley?
Well, for me, because when I see a lot of people coming into college, they don't really know the game of football. A lot of people are just athletes, and coming from Catholic Central and then playing under Coaster, I actually got to learn the X's and O's, how to line up where like different things. You have splits and stuff like that. So just learning the inside and out of the game before I even got to college, I think really helped me propel my career.
For sure. And moving on from that as well, like obviously you decided to further your playing career at Grand Valley, but what other schools were you maybe looking at, and why did you think that GV was going to be the best fit for you?
Saginaw Valley and then Ferris, they were the ones that offered me, but I honestly no other school was in my mind other than Grand Valley if I didn't get a Division I offer. I mean, I looked at them schools, but there's just something about Grand Valley always intrigued me. Just growing up from 15 minutes away and then always hearing about the rich success that they had as well.
Yeah, for sure. And along with this too, most high school players, they'll play both sides of the field, but in college you did play safety for the Lakers. So what really led to the decision for you to play on the defensive end rather than the offense?
Well, I don't think I really had a choice, to be honest. Oh, just in high school, everybody that was recruiting me, even like if I got some Division I looks, they were all for like defense. I never really wanted to play defense in college. I always thought I was a receiver, a running back type, but that's what people see in you, so that's what you got to go with. But I always was a smart player, so I think that's what just helps me a lot on the defensive end, just being able to go in and decipher what the offense is doing. I feel like that's pretty easy for me.
Along with that too, as someone who's never played safety before, what would you say is the hardest part of your position?
Really, when you're playing in a high hole in the middle of the field and somebody breaks through like wide open and you have to make that game saving tackle or that touchdown saving tackle, that's probably the hardest part for me.
For sure, because you really are like that last line of defense. If everything goes to hell, you're the last person to really be able to make that stop. So I get that.
Yeah. Because it's been a few times like you're either gonna make the tackle or you're not because he's gonna score. And it's been a few times where I done missed the tackle, but I feel like I done got the majority of them tackles.
For sure. Now, so I'm sure some of the best rivalries in sports come in football. As when you only play each other once a year, that blood can really boil between the two teams. And GV certainly has a rival in Ferris State University. And this season, you went into the Division II playoffs as the #1 team in Division II because in the regular season, you were able to defeat the Bulldogs for the first time since 2016. Unfortunately, they did get their revenge in the playoffs. But what did that moment mean to you to really be able to beat this rival school for the first time in your college career?
Well, they put a whooping on us last year in the playoffs pretty bad. So going into this season, we kind of switching things around. Like I said, we got our culture got a little bit better. And then I feel like nobody had no doubt in their mind that we were going up to Big Rapids, top target field, and we are going to win that game. It's like the most confidence we done ever had and we've ever been. Because we had a thing going into the season, like we're going to bring all the trophies home into our little trophy case that we have in the football center in Levers. So going up there, and it was a pretty close game. We won by 1 point. So just winning by that 1 point means everything because losing from 2017 all the way up until now it was just crazy because all the games have been close except for our playoff game in 2021. We lost to them by I think 4 1 year. We lost to them by 3. Lost to them by 5. They're always one possession games. So like going in and watching those things on film, like what can we get better at? Because that week I'm pretty sure everybody put in probably 3 hours of film. Everybody was just so locked in because everybody wanted to win so bad. And we went up there and we did it. You know, it sucks to lose to them in the playoffs again, but they're a really good team. We are too. So it's something we can really hang our heads on.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what a cool and amazing game too. I mean, not only did you beat them in their home stadium, but it was the first time, possibly, I don't know ever, if ever, but first time that I was able to read that it was the number 1 versus the number 2 in this rivalry matchup in the entire nation, which is super cool to see.
Yeah, I think that was the first time because last year in 2021, it was number 3 versus number 2, or number 3 versus number 5, somewhere in that area. We were both top 5 teams, but number 1 versus number 2 was crazy.
Tone, when you are in a game, what goes through your head? What really goes through your mind when you're playing in a game?
I try to stay locked in for the most part, but during pregame, I try not to talk a lot. I just try to like stay focused mentally, talk to myself, try to build myself up. But in the game, I just like to let loose. I like to have fun out there. Because if you're not having fun, then it's just you're not having fun because you're not gonna. I don't think because there's been games where it's like, all right, I'm just out here. You know, you're playing a lower level opponent. Sometimes you can get into that zone, and I've caught myself doing that a few times. But I think for me, I just go out there. I have to go out there in the first couple minutes and then just actually hit somebody, make a tackle or something, because that's just gonna get me going. And then I just being able to talk to my teammates throughout the game. If they make a play, going up, high five, and doing things like that, that's just really the most fun part to me.
Now, Tom, going off of that as well, I mean, obviously your college career has come to an end, but overall, how would you describe these last few years playing at Grand Valley?
Well, I wouldn't trade it for the world because I think it's not only the Coach Mitch has a saying like have a love for who you're with and who you're doing it for and where you're at. And I really love doing that, being in Allendale, Michigan, playing with those group of guys that I did, some of my roommates that finished out, and then some of the people that I came with, and even the younger guys that I haven't known for so long. They really played a major part in my journey here because I love going to practice every day. It's not like a dull moment for me at practice. I'm always energized. I'm always happy. But, sometimes you leave that building, it's different. It's not football can sometimes feel like a fake place because the real world is just not like that, not those people, and you're not just going to have those same experiences.
Going off of that, obviously we just mentioned, your college career has come to an end, but is there a chance we could see Antonio Strong in a different league? Is your football career over, or is there a chance that we could see you trying for a different league or even trying to go for the NFL?
Oh, most definitely that. NFL is the main goal, but I'm never not open to playing in the CFL, the USFL, or the XFL. Those are great opportunities now. So I'm just going to train, find somewhere to train at, probably over in Detroit for right now. I'm still up in the air about that decision where I'm going to train at. But I'm most definitely going to be trying to play in another league sometime soon.
For sure. And, finally, Tony, just kind of put this episode in the end zone. You just mentioned that you did just graduate from Grand Valley with double majors in communication and business. So, just overall, what is next for Antonio Strong?
I think next for me is just that next step in my life is just growing and elevating even more. So whether it's a professional team, wherever I go, or whether I was getting a job, I think it's just growing and becoming more of a man. Not that I'm not a man already, but just seeing where I can take myself and pushing myself onto the next level. For
sure. Got to take every opportunity and do it to its fullest, right?
Most definitely.
Awesome. Well, Tone, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it. And, it's really great to catch up for sure.
No, I appreciate you having me on, man. Thanks.
Yeah. How's it going, everybody? Once again, it is I forgetting to shoot an outro when I record the video.
You're a donut!
Ah, man. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of the BaseLINE podcast. Thank you so much to Antonio Strong for coming on and talking about football with me. It's great to see what he was able to accomplish at Grand Valley, and hopefully, we can see him work hard and maybe get a tryout somewhere. If you guys enjoyed the episode, please like, subscribe, share with a friend, and of course, if this is your first time watching the BaseLINE podcast, go check out my other videos as well. I put a lot of time and effort into these videos. Along with that, if you enjoyed the music for this episode, please make sure to go check out Hidden Harmony. Link for them will be in the description below. But with all that being said, guys, thank you again so much for tuning into this episode of the BaseLINE podcast. I'm your host, BaseLINE Newman. We'll catch you guys next time.